I thought I'd seen it all on World of Tanks console, and then the Iron Rain came in. I purchased this tank on sale at 50% off, as it is the super savings for this week. You saw it in the updates news video if you tuned into that, and I was just unbelievably amazed about how just outrageous this tank really is. Now, I thought, you know what, it's kind of like a slow Borsig, it's got a 3-shot autoloader, of course it's going to be good, it's got a 30-second reload. I knew it was going to be good, I just didn't realise it was going to be this good. And if you have spare gold lying around, or if you want a tank that is just blatantly overpowered, then this one is definitely for you. The Iron Rain has genuinely got to be one of the most kind of the best tank I've played in a long time. What do I mean by that? Well, it's so good because it can deal 1500 damage. Let's, for example, have a look at the tanks in this game. The Vanguard, 2-shot, 900 hit points. I've got 3 shots. I reload in 30 seconds. I can take out a Vanguard from full health in approximately about 20 seconds. And that's consistent. So easy to be able to do it, and this is what I mean by just being able to dish out so much damage that people cannot genuinely deal with you quick enough to stop you from just clipping them. Alright, you see the Vanguard here. We're going to be able to hopefully get a shot into him. We do miss it, which is unfortunate, but you know, within the first minute and a half of the game, we've picked up 1400 hit points, and I can tell you, the WZ that we clipped at the beginning of the game definitely did not realise that the Iron Rain was here. And one thing I want to talk about the Iron Rain is people don't know you're there. This tank has unbelievable camo, so you can sit in a bush like I'm doing now, and the opponent, as long as you're not moving, is never going to see you. I will outspot the Vanguard in almost 99% of the scenarios that come along, especially since we've got advanced optics and I've got camo net on this thing. And if I really wanted to kind of boost it even further, I'd then put like advanced powertrain to boost up the speed of the tank, because that's kind of the limiting factor of this tank. So yeah, that's kind of where it's at, but even then this tank is just good enough as it is. It's literally right out the box, fantastic. And you can see here we managed to pick up the Vanguard there like, I don't know, 10 seconds ago, but we managed to pick him up without even getting detected, and we fired. So I mean, what tank would be able to do that? And yeah, that is where I think this tank really holds it over a lot of the other tanks, is because of what you're about to see. Hammer in the side, 2 shots within 2.7 seconds, and we've chunked off 1000 hit points worth of damage. Now, this is the point where it could have all gone wrong. Luckily it didn't. The VK16801P didn't manage to do that, and from this point we're going to try and avoid any more shots from the Hammer by getting behind this rock here. As soon as we're undetected, there's no way he's going to be able to redetect us unless he comes fully round that corner and exposes himself, and by that time we're going to be reloaded. There's not much he can do. And this is where I think having the autoloader mechanic within World of Tanks really becomes super hard for a lot of the opponents you're going to be fighting. For example, this Hammer, if I was fully reloaded with 490, I have a very good chance that I could clip him from full health if we just slightly high roll. And I wouldn't even need to like high roll by an inordinate amount every single round, just a couple, like 40 damage each round, and we'll be able to take him out. And that's where I think the autoloader mechanic becomes in so badly within console, or all versions really, because there's not much that a lot of the people can do against a tank like this. I think this gun on the Iron Rain is probably a tier 9 gun, you know, being able to do 1500 damage consistently. It's not like this gun gets bad accuracy, or it gets terrible kind of aim time, or maybe it gets terrible like rate of fire, maybe it's absolutely horrendous. There's none of that. This tank is just pretty much, as with every German tank in the game, really accurate and able to dish out damage consistently. And I mean, when VK3601Hs are coming around the corner, the tier 6, there's not much he's going to be able to do against us, since we can go through the front of it. It's not even like we lack the penetration with the Iron Rain. It's flat out a Borsig, which is really good anyway, but better. And that is the problem. It's not a problem for me because I'm playing it, but for everyone else on the enemy team that you're clipping for 1500 damage combined, it's probably a problem. But there we go. I mean, that is the Iron Rain. It just is unbelievable. And for like, what, 5,000 gold maximum at the moment, this is probably one of the best kind of tanks that you can purchase and have so much enjoyment. It just has everything. Now, there are games where you're just too slow to be able to engage a lot of the targets. And that's the limiting factor of the tank, is that sometimes you're just too quick at dealing the damage that you can't find the damage to deal. And that's not really a problem of the tank, just more a case of showcasing that you're like having to chase damage, well, you're not even having to chase damage, you need damage to be able to chase. So that's the difference between the Iron Rain and some of the other tank destroyers in the game, is that the damage has to be there for you to be able to get it, and the Iron Rain certainly loves getting damage. And you can see here 4,500 damage within this, which means that, you know, we've had a solid round, and I mean that in the best of senses. You know, we've definitely had one of the best rounds that you could probably hope for in a tank like this. And now we can move forward, and it's not even like we're like super slow. 35 kilometers an hour on this thing, top speed I believe, and that can go up if you do put the speed boost equipment, which of course you can do, which will boost it up even further. And that's really where this tank just takes it to a whole new level, is when you've got the mobility that isn't just absolutely horrendous. It's not amazing, but then you've got the gun, you've got the accuracy of the gun, you've got the alpha damage of a tier 10, and not just any tier 10, but you've actually got the same sort of alpha as a Jaegeru. Well, in fact, you've got more alpha damage than a Jaegeru, and you're a tier 8. So as long as you're hitting your rounds, which you can do in this thing if you just fully aim, you're going to be able to have some really amazing games that people just don't think that you're going to be able to have. And that is the difference between playing the Iron Rain and the Borsig. The Borsig is good at kind of consistently dealing damage, but it never has that ability to just dish out, you know, 1200 damage all in one go, or well, 1400 damage all in one singular go. And that's really the key difference. You actually have 1470 alpha damage with the Iron Rain at tier 8, meaning that you can pretty much clip most tanks, especially if they're a medium tank. They really have no chance. And when you're coming up against Tigers, it's even better because they don't have armour for you to be able to bounce off, so it's just a nice tasty treat for you to snack on. And you can see in this game we snacked on 6 opponents, 4,784 damage, nearly 2,000 base experience, and of course coming top within the game. And this is the Iron Rain at its kind of pinnacle, where you're just able to get damage. And to be honest, I didn't really have to think that much in that game. So this isn't even at the pinnacle. You know, we ran out of opponents to fight, and we could have definitely fought a lot more. So that is the Iron Rain. Let's look at one further gameplay before you swap off of this video so we can showcase a little bit more. Now then, you might be thinking, as I'm sure many of you will, because I thought this, yeah, this tank can do 1470 alpha, but can it actually do that in tier 10 games, which you're probably coming up against in the majority of situations, because tier 8 is just basically tier 10 right now, with the tier 10 silver event that's currently going on. But yes, this tank, in a short answer, can come up against tier 10s, and this video gameplay is going to showcase that. And albeit the gameplay is not necessarily too difficult from the standpoint of like tactics or anything like that, but it's being opportunistic and using everything that you know about the game, about the mechanics, about the tank that we're playing, which is the Iron Rain, to be able to have those really amazing gameplays. And this one is a very good one. Is it the best gameplay you're ever going to see? No, because I'm not claiming that that is the aim, but with a lot of these videos, it's about showcasing what the tank is actually going to do, not just, you know, being able to deal like 7,000 damage, because that relies on just the actual game itself, not necessarily the tank, because this tank can easily do 7,000 damage. It's just making sure that you position yourself to be able to actually get that damage out when you can. And talking about getting damage out, the Paladin made a bit of a mistake here, and he paid for it with his entire hit points there, as we track him with the first one. Teammates finish him off, and yeah, we have a really good result there. Obviously go for the 416 or trying to. We see the T95E6. This is kind of the shots we don't really like. We're going to wait for him to come forward, then we're going to fire, and unfortunately we miss. But doesn't matter, 900 alpha damage done, 352 assistance. It's not bad for the first 2 minutes, and this is where the Iron Rain really comes in clutch, is the ability to dish out damage. And, you know, we're very unlikely to be able to take any damage unless the opponents across the way decide to blind fire, in which case we're keeping quite mindful of that, because I always do it on this map. If I do decide in my tank destroyer to take this sort of position, it's not good for heavy tanks, so if you're in a heavy tank, don't come up here. That's one of the worst decisions I see all of the time on Arctic region, is heavy tanks coming up into this position where they're just useless. There's so many better positions you can use, so don't go camping up here. Similarly, if you're in a medium tank, don't come up here. It's terrible, absolutely terrible. Don't do that. Anyway, regardless of that, this is where the Iron Rain comes in, or at least me playing the Iron Rain comes in a bit limiting, and that's where you load standard rounds against the tier 10 heavy tanks. But don't worry though, because that could all have been solved if we just decided to load premium from the start, and we would have been easily able to go through the front of the Object 705, which wouldn't have been a problem at all. So it's kind of like the negative of the tank is, yeah, in tier 10 games you may not be able to pen, but like in the majority of like games, if you actually just pay a little bit of silver, you will be able to. So yeah, is it really a negative of the tank itself, given the fact that you can still do vast amounts of damage? You just actually have to like choose to pay the silver to be able to do it. So no, I don't think it's really a negative, and this tank is unbelievable at making silver. I didn't realise how much silver you can make in the Iron Rain, because we went from like, I think like 200,000 silver all the way up to like 1.5 million in like genuinely no time. We weren't using silver boosters or anything, and I didn't really feel like I was grinding silver. I was just kind of playing the game, and I was earning that much. Now, is it as good as Cold War? No, but the tank isn't in Cold War, so we're not going to earn that. But if you are playing World War II and you want a tank that's going to earn you silver whilst playing World War II and not having to deal with True Vision, the Iron Rain is where it's at. And this game, although only having 1400 alpha, we've managed to pick up 1200 spotting, and that's something I want to talk about as well, is the fact that this tank has unbelievable view range disparity. And what I mean by that is that your view range is like over twice what your actual detectability or your camo is, which means that you can spot your opponents way before they even have a chance at being able to spot you, which means that for the most part you're not going to get spotted unless you choose that you're going to get spotted. So there's always that within the game, and so that's something that you have to think about as well, and add that into your own gameplay so that you don't make the mistake of just like getting caught out in the open. Because let's face it, the Iron Rain has no armour, and so that is kind of the key weak point of the tank, if you even call it a weak point, because at this point in World of Tanks console, armour doesn't really mean too much anyway, so you're not really sacrificing that much for a whole lot of gain with this tank. And so the Iron Rain in general on World of Tanks console is so, well, it genuinely is one of my favourite tanks that I play, and that is why I think it's so dangerous when people come up against it, is because of just this ability, an innate ability to dish out 500 alpha damage hits. You see, we're coming up against an M60, that's a tier 10 medium, and he didn't really have much choice against us. He pokes us, he gets hit, he loses 500 damage. He doesn't poke us, he doesn't get any damage. So yeah, it's like swings and roundabouts for the M60 here, and he's just got to either wait it out or not do anything. So this is where the Iron Rain can be so boring for your opposition. It's not boring to play, it's boring for the people that you're playing against, because they know how insane the 1500 alpha damage just below anyway is within World of Tanks console, and why they can't just YOLO across an open field that they really want to, because they know that that's what they've got to do in order to progress the flank. But you're sat here just waiting for them to make the wrong move, and I guess we kind of make the wrong move in just a second, but yeah, we're able to take the hit points of an ISU 152 from full health all the way down to 182 with just 2 shots. So we could have easily 3-shot him. Obviously, this is a very dire situation for the Iron Rain. We've got 20 seconds on our reload. We're not going to be able to reload. Let's face it. Like, that is the end of the game for the Iron Rain. And since we don't have armour, we're not going to be able to bounce anything. We do get taken out by the M60. So, in essence, he still won the engagement. But did he really? Because he lost a lot of hit points to us during that engagement. And so, yeah, not really a loss. But you can see, even in a tier 10 game where we were basically not having to do too much, you know, we were in the same position for the entire game where we could just deal the damage, take our opportunities, slap out 1500 alpha, and we still managed to come top on damage in a tier 10 game. And that is where the Iron Rain takes supremacy over probably all of the other tier 8 tank destroyers, at least in my opinion. Even the Shashka, who can deal 500 damage in one shot, but within like 8-second periods, it's not quite the same as dishing out the 1500 within 4 seconds of firing the first shell. The Iron Rain is amazing. Make sure if you are interested in picking up an overpowered tank destroyer, you pick up this one first. So there we go. Hopefully this video was interesting for you to have a look at the Iron Rain. There were plenty of game clips where I got 4k damage. I just needed to pick one. And the key aspect to finalise the video is that the tank is limited by the amount of damage left in the game, not how much damage you can do in the game. So there we go. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out some of the others on screen right now, and be sure to check out some of the videos coming up soon by subscribing and keeping active on the channel. And of course, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.